I'm back to another episode of Not Just Another Story. I'm here welcoming the second guest of the show, Ryan Conwell Fitness. How you doing, mate?
Not bad, mate, not bad. I've literally just woke up, so, I'm coming round. I think this is the earliest I'm getting up in weeks, mate, so you're lucky on that one.
Oh, see, I've been 5 o'clock rising recently, been trying to get myself back to the gym and stuff like that, so...
I'm a 10 a.m. type of guy, do you know what I mean? Away, start working instantly, so...
Yeah, up later, bet you work later though.
Yeah, always, mate. Like, I'm still taking sales calls at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People are like, do you have a fucking life? I'm like, well, this is my life, so I'll take it, do you know what I mean?
As long as you enjoy it, you don't see it as work though, do you, really?
Not really, do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
It is what it is.
Brilliant. So just for the watchers and listeners, mate, just give a little bit of a background of yourself, what you do. We'll be touching on stuff anyways, and I think in the name it kind of gives away your online coach, stuff like that. So yeah, take it away, bud.
I feel like I'm so reluctant to like group myself as an online coach these days because there's so many fucking losers that are online coaches. That's like, do you want to be associated with that shit? Do you know what I mean? But essentially, if somebody's watching, like, yes, I am an online coach. Like, I have an online coaching fitness business where I have coaches that work for me. I pass them to clients, etc. We predominantly work with males, but we work with a bunch of females as well. I think we're going more in a male-orientated direction. I think purely from a passion and enjoyment standpoint. If like dudes are just fucking easier. If you tell a dude to get a grip, he's like, okay, no problem. If you tell a female to get a grip, it normally doesn't go very well. Do you know what I mean? So I do a bit of the online coaching standpoint of it, and then I also help other fitness coaches grow their online coaching business as well, which is way more enjoyable from my standpoint, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I can picture that. To be fair, I didn't know that you've done that as well, because I just see like what you post on social media and stuff like that, so I thought it was just the coaching side.
The business standpoint of it is more like as and when it comes, if that makes sense. It's not massively marketed to it, but there's definitely a lot of fitness coaches out there that like haven't even got a fucking clue on where to start or go from, and obviously I know what it feels like because like I was in that position once. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like if you have somebody there to fast track. Do you know what I mean? If you think about Alex, who obviously you spoke to previously, like he was a fitness client. He would like train for years, and then all of a sudden we work together and he loses fucking 4 stone. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like that for the the business clients where it's like they're hitting their head against a wall for fucking 2 years straight, and then we spend 25 days together and all of a sudden they've just doubled their revenue. It's like you don't know what you don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Yeah.
No, definitely. So just with that, how did you get into fitness originally? Because I know obviously we'll touch on this as well, but before becoming a PT, stuff like that, like what made you actually start fitness? And was it sports or just wanting to change?
So I still remember walking at my mum and dad's bedroom and asking my mum to get me a gym membership, and she said no because I think I was 16 at the time, and she was like, too young, don't need to do that. I think it's one of those things where, like, when a parent sees like a fucking news article like, it'll stunt your child's growth, like it'll make them something. It's like, cool, no problem. But eventually I talked my way into it, and then it just became a thing that was just more of like a lifestyle and a passion and enjoyment. I mean, put it this way, I used to do performing arts at Gates at college. I would frequently miss that because I would just go to the gym instead, like all the fucking time. Dropped out of that like 2 months before I even completed it. What a fucking waste of time. Then went to Newcastle College and done music technology in DJing. Again, missed a lot of sessions because I was just going to the fucking gym instead. And then dropped out of that, I think 3 months before I completed it. Like, there's a trend here of not finishing things, clearly.
Yeah.
Then I was basically working in a factory job. And to cut long story short, like, it was literally the most depressing thing that you can imagine. It's like standing in one place 12 hours on end, packing boxes of crisps essentially, or like making fucking tortillas. It's like not sexy at all. Do you know what I mean? Definitely isn't going to pick up any girls if you go tell them that in fucking Newcastle. fun fact, I actually used to lie about what I used to do. I used to tell them I was a stripper and all sorts, just to be like, I don't want to tell somebody that I have this like fucking shit job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it kind of got to a point where, again, even when I was working jobs, I was calling in sick, and I was just going to the gym instead because I couldn't bring myself to go there, and that was the only place that I enjoyed. So I think one light bulb went off of like, Ryan, like, why don't you just work in a fucking gym? Like that would kind of solve all the problems here. If you keep skipping college and skipping fucking work to go to the gym, like, just go to the fucking gym and get a job there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was lucky because I was living at home, so I could kind of take that risk where I went and done the qualification, etc. Started to work part-time and not worry about, mortgage, family, kids, all that sort of stuff. So I think one of the biggest things that young people should do is like just take a fucking risk when like the cards are in your favor, because if you wait until you got a mortgage, you got a family and stuff, like you're betting against the house. Do you know what I mean? It's not fun at that point. So essentially started DW in Newcastle, which I think is just literally closed down. They definitely closed down because I've left. I'm going to take that in there, put it somewhere in the back of my head. But I went there, and within like, I think it was 3 weeks, I still hadn't picked up a client. My mum and dad came back from holiday, and I was like sitting in the kitchen, and she was like, "Oh hi, like I thought you'd be at work. Like where are you?" As in like my proper job that was actually earning money. Yeah. And I was just like, "I've left." I just walked out. She was like, "Well, have you got any clients that you pick someone up at the gym?" And I was like, "Nope, but I will." Like, trust me. And it was a case of like, I think it was like literally day 30, like a month in, I picked up my first person.
Yeah.
And again, where there's always that light bulb moment of like, oh, well, that's how you do it. That makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And from there, it just went bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think within like 12 months, I was earning like $5,000 a month, just like as an in-person PT, which when you're fucking like 20 years old, 21, and you're living at home with your parents, you're like, wow, I'm fucking balling. Do you know what I mean? Because there's like no expenses, there's nothing. Do you know what I mean? And you just think like, okay, cool. So that's how I transitioned into PT. It was purely out of desperation. It's not one of these stories where I'm going to be like, I just really like helping people. It's like not the fucking case at all. It was just like, I'm going to be selfish as fuck. I'm going to go do this for me. And a byproduct of being selfish is just that a lot of people have benefited from it. So it's like, cool, win-win. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. So with that, I suppose there's a story for a lot of young people as well, isn't it? Because you get a lot of people who they get pushed, like in school, it's further education, isn't it? Like a lot of, when you're in high school and stuff like that, it's like go to sixth form, go to college, go to university, get yourself in £1,000 of debt. And then you're an example there, like I never done that, I'd done an apprenticeship as well, but then I still kind of got down that rabbit hole of going and do a 9 to 5, that's the normal, where now I'm 25, turning 26 in September, and now I'm looking at moving to Australia next year and stuff like that. But last year I just got my first house, so I'm like kind of in that byproduct where I'm not fully committed because I don't have the family in that, but I see what you're talking about with the mortgage and what do you do with the house, stuff like that. So I think what you mentioned there about the younger people, like take a risk while you can, like before you're tied down to anything. Just if you want to do something and it scares you a little bit, fucking do it. That's what I would say anyways now.
You just have to think, it's like, what's the worst case scenario here? So like, I don't see it as, for example, like one of the things that me and my missus were looking at was moving to Dubai. And like when you speak to family and friends, like, oh, that's such a risk, like you're so brave, like moving over. I'm like, the risk is staying here. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's the perception that you look at it at. Like, for example, when I was doing the in-person PT, everything was cool, like $5,000 a month, happy days. Mm-hmm. But I knew that there was a ceiling there, and like, if you think about college, for example, like I get bored of things very, very fucking quickly. Do you know what I mean? So it's as soon as I seen that there was a ceiling, it was like, well, I'm running myself into the ground here, like where I'm practically from like 6 a.m. till like 10 o'clock at night, coming home, sleeping, going back to the gym, and I can't physically earn anymore. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was I'm bored now. So like, well, what else can I do? So moving to the online side of things, I literally went from like 5k a month to like I think it was like maybe £900, £1,000 a month, because I literally just sacked the whole online the in-person stuff and just went balls in. And the frame that I had in my head was like, well, what's the worst case scenario here, Ryan? That you just go back to the gym within 6 months, you're back to 5k a month. Like, well, that's a pretty good worst case scenario here, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you wait another 10 years and you have a kid and you have a mortgage and stuff, like, that's a rougher place to go, because what if the kid can't eat? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think a lot of, if you're young, you need to take those risks, and I think a lot of people throw their risks away because they're too busy out, they're getting fucking smashed every single weekend, they're wasting their fucking time, they're paying for these holidays and shit, and it's like these like 5 to fucking 10 years where like you're not as when you were fucking like 16, 17, but you're not as like fixated when you're like 30 plus. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the time where you should be fucking stepping on the gas and moving forward. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of young people get tied down into shit that they don't realise is going to be for the next 40, 50 years of their life now. Do you know what I mean? Definitely.
So I tried telling me like little cousin as well, because he's just turned 18, so he's kind of bouncing between jobs, can't really find anything that he likes, stuff like that. And his like being like from Newcastle, like Wallsend area as well, it's like a lot of the culture is drinking culture in Newcastle. And hands up, I'm guilty. Like, I was in the promo scene, stuff like that, so I was probably one of the worst culprits for it. Like, I was those annoying people who come up to you on the street on a night out, oh, where you heading, guys? Like,
here's a band.
Here's
a free shot, enjoy.
I was one of them kids. But honestly, like, we'll laugh about it now, because one of the biggest in Newcastle's now's got probably the biggest podcast in the UK, like with Chris Williamson. So he was like my boss when I was promoting. So it's mad because it builds networks, it builds confidence, but you get stuck in a very, very bad habit where you think you're going out with your friends and everything, but as soon as you step away from the alcohol side of things, you lose contact with a lot of them. So that's what I found. And recently I've been doing like 3 to 4 months where I haven't been going out partying, maybe it's to the local and stuff like that, but I've went to Paul Smith last week, I think, and after that I've set myself a 60-day challenge now. I'm on day 13, so it's not that far in yet, with no alcohol. Nice. So I'm doing that. One, you save money because you can't go out in Newcastle now, I don't think, without spending about £100 a night.
£5,000, that's it.
So I've done that personally, and more so because with this, like, I want to do well with it and stuff like that. So I think when you drink, it puts you up. I don't know if you're the same, but when I drink now, it puts us out of swing for like 2, 3, 4 days.
Well, that's it. It's not just that one day, it's the fucking day after, and probably the day after that as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, excuse me, when we work with fitness clients, like, one of the questions we asked in the week prior is like, do you have any events planned? And Alex will sit there and go, well, great, you can go and enjoy that, but this is your plan Monday to Friday, and I know that you're going to be hungover Monday to Tuesday, so that's your plan for that, and then we'll get back to it on Wednesday. Because like that's the real fucking scenario there. It's not the, well, I guess we'll just get back to it the next day. It's like, well, it's not going to fucking happen like that. Do you know what I mean? So definitely. Like, I say this, I'm going to get hammered today because it's my birthday on Monday and I've got a bunch of sales calls on Monday. So I say this, but today I'm drinking, but like, I just never drink. Like, I never do anymore. I don't, it doesn't give me what I want, if that makes sense. So like, when I was 17, 18, yes, I'd be out every fucking weekend getting absolutely hammered. But there was also nothing else going on in my life there. So it's like, well, I was filling a void. But like, I have things that fill my time and my desire right now, so I don't want to do that. It doesn't intrigue me at all. Do you know what I mean? I think it is a cultural thing of like, well, this is what all my mates are doing, so this is what I'll do. But if you look at all your mates and your mates aren't going where you want to go or on where you want to be, why would you copy what they're doing?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to just keep authentic to what you truly want. Do you know what I mean? Because there will come a point where, for example, I would say I probably have 2 or 3 pals. Do you know what I mean? That's it. And I'll probably speak to them today. Do you know what I mean? But like, I haven't spoke to one of my pals probably in like 4 months, another one in about 3 months. The guy, my other friend, he's on holiday at the minute, but I think it's been probably like 7 months since we've met up.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like when you have friends that are truly your friends, it doesn't need to be every single Friday we have to be hammered to hang around each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there should be a conversation there where you don't need to be fucking teetotal to have something in common.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's a variety of it. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. I'm the same. So, like, my best mate, he works shifts as well, so you can't really meet up that often anyways, and lives a bit further out the way. So I think it's fortnight, just with how his shifts work, we'll go out and like go on a hike on like a Saturday or a Sunday, and it's just different as well, because like we're saying, like, drinking culture doesn't really interest me that much anymore. So now if I go to the pub, I take the car, and it just stops us from drinking, and I'll have a lemonade and lime, just to keep myself straight. So I think that's one of the hardest things for, like, we're on about there, like, young people, is they get sucked into that culture because it's what they're watching around them as well. And by the time, like, they realise it in, like, the mid-20s, like, late to late 20s, by the time they're like, right, actually I need to kind of, what do I want to do, where do I want to go? So, I agree with you there.
But that's it. But like you're saying, it's their late 20s and they have no leverage by that point.
Yeah.
That's where they feel like they're in a job that they now have to stick with because it's like a career and there's progression. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no risk, even though their boss can get rid of them tomorrow. And there's a mortgage there, and now there's a kid on the way. And it's like, yeah, you have zero leverage now, dude. Do you know what I mean? Because you wanted to drink fucking triple vodka Cokes. Congrats.
Yeah. I mean, they're cheap enough in Newcastle, don't get us wrong, but
yeah. I think Newcastle's the only place where you can get a triple vodka Coke. You go down Leeds or somewhere and they're like, what the fuck is this guy off his tits like?
Yeah.
You know
I've done that in Manchester. I was like, do you do Trebs? And they went, what are Trebs? I was like, a triple vodka. They went, well, we can do you a double and give you a shot of vodka. I was like, yeah, do that.
Yeah, just do that. I'll put it myself. Okay.
Yeah.
Take a pound off the total. I'll take it for labour costs.
So, just touching on the PTing as well, getting a bit back on track. When you first started PTing, was it kind of, obviously I know it's like a lot of it's self-employed, stuff like that, but was there a deal with the gym where you had to do classes, stuff like that as well? Because I know some people are kind of employed, but then they're self-employed in regards to the clientele and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's a tipping point. So like most gyms will be like, you know, you can work 15 hours a week for us, or you can pay us 500 quid a month. Like that's the ballpark for it. But it's like, if those 15 hours can be filled with one-to-one paying clients, then you're losing money by not paying the gym 500 quid a month. Yeah. So there's a point where I would say, like, if somebody's doing like 30 hours a week and they can do, you know, 40, 50, it's like, pay the fucking gym the 500 quid, make the extra cash, and don't have to run around for somebody. I hated doing the fucking classes because it's just not up my alley at all. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I can put a performance on. Everyone I'm sure would have thought like, oh well, that was like great. Like he seems really into it. Like I'm lying. Like it's just a fucking performance. I did performing arts in college. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm really fucking good at it.
For a little bit, anyways.
Even though I never fucking showed up. Do you know what I mean? I still have an A star at drama. Like fucking put that at the top of the CV. But yeah, I hated the classes. I hated that standpoint. If I could, I just would disappear and sit on the toilet during my fucking gym hours, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a struggle with, like, people tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a job where it's ended well. Do you know what I mean? Most jobs I've kicked off, walked out. I think I've told 2 bosses to, like, go fuck themselves. Do you know what I mean? And then just never came back. Like, it doesn't tend to end well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, the quickest that I could get on the let me just pay you money and then I can just do what the fuck I want. Do you know what I mean? Was definitely the path for me. So that's the way I went with it.
Yeah. No, because I know obviously a lot of people either have to pay the rent like you mentioned or do the classes, because my friend's doing he's level 2 now. I think it's fitness instructor. Yeah. And I think he has to do, while he's doing that, he has to do so many hours like working for the actual gym and stuff like that.
Well, here's the thing, like these qualifications, especially with PTs and that, if you've ever been on one of these courses, the amount of that are on it is unfucking real. Do you know what I mean? Half of the people that are on it it's getting paid by like the council or the government because they're unemployed, and they're like, you know, we'll pay for your course if you go on this and then get yourself a job, and then they turn it over and then just can't be asked to do anything. Yeah. There was a kid that was on mine that was literally going out halfway through and smoking a fucking joint.
Oh wow.
And it's like, yes, he has his level 3 because he sat and copied exactly what I was doing. Do you know what I mean? Like the instructor guy was literally just like, just get this kid fucking passed. Like, Ryan, just pass your thing. I was like, do me a favor, just like change some of the answers. I think like at one point he stood up and was like, oh, fuck this, I'm going for a joint.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, you know, you jump on and people are like, you know, are you qualified? You got this? I'm like, trust me, it doesn't mean much, but yes, I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, the experience means a hell of a lot more. I think
that's like Alex, isn't it? Like, he didn't have any of his qualifications. He just been through, like, the process more than anything, hasn't he?
So, you know, if I'm on a call and somebody will say to me, like, do you have a qualification? Do you have this? Do you have that? The first thing I'll say is like, listen, would you prefer a surgeon that's done 10,000 surgeries, or would you prefer a surgeon that has a fucking qualification?
Yeah.
And so, well, I'd rather have the guy done 10,000 surgeries. It's like, well, great, that's what my coaches are. Yeah. Like my coaches have not only just been through the process themselves, so understand it inside and out, but they've also helped 100 and odd people. Yeah. So it's like, I would put my trust in them personally. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's so easy to, get a qualification. Like, you literally get given the answers. Like, I remember we were literally sitting doing the test. Someone would struggle and be like, this is the answer for it. Do you know what I mean? It's literally impossible to pass because they make money off people passing on it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, would I pay for Alex to go do a qualification? Definitely fucking not. Will I sit on a call with him for 2 hours and explain the ins and outs of things? Like, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's a repetition game where, yes, at the very start, like, you would have, a bunch of questions, like, what about this? What about that? Do you know what I mean? You would know the answer because he's fucking done it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's more of a, like, can you just, like, double check that this is the right thing? But it's very, very rare that he ever sends me anything. Do you know what I mean? He's normally sending his messages just taking the piss at me or something, or laughing about something. Do you know what I mean? It's very rare where it's like, what would you do in this scenario? Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. And to be fair, like, because when he used to work under me in the Explore just before he joined you guys, a lot of our conversations were about fitness, because like we both went to the same gym, because I was at DW. That's where I actually first ever seen you with, I think it was Gemma.
Right.
And Rob was my PT at the time.
Yes,
yeah. But yeah, so DW, and then I went obviously Everlast, and then now it's NRG, I think.
That's what I just changed to.
Yeah. But me and Alex, like, never ever seen each other in the gym, anything like that. Then he was like, oh, I used to work out at DW. I was like, oh, when about? And he told us, I was like, oh, well, so did I. In small world. But the passion when we used to talk about like the gym, like he's like meal prep, stuff like that, you could tell that he really enjoyed doing it as well. And I think that's half the battle, isn't it? Like 9 times out of 10 is, if you really enjoy it, then you're going to be passionate about helping other people in that same sort of field.
Easy. I think a lot of people look at like fitness people and go, wow, they're they're like so, like, they have a lot of grit or determination, or do you know what I mean? They're strict on things. Like, no, they fucking enjoy it, and it's easy. Do you know what I mean? Like, the way that you like Netflix, he likes going to the fucking gym. Yes. You never make excuses about watching Netflix, so he never makes excuses about fucking going to the gym.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, there has to be like an enjoyment factor. It's funny that you should say that you and Alex never knew that you went to the same gym. So me and Alex didn't speak to each other for 2 years, seeing each other basically every single day. 3 months before I'm leaving, he's like, kind of have a chat. We sat down, and like the rest is fucking history. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it is a case of like, if you don't fucking speak to people, not many opportunities are going to come up. Do you know what I mean? It is very much like a put yourself out there. It's a volume of opportunity game. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely, mate. Alex is like, I think until you break the barrier with Alex, though, like, normally he's quite that, like, a reserved guy anyways, so I could just imagine, like, that first conversation with him, because he was the same when we worked, but as soon as he breaks out of his shell, it's shutting him up. That's a problem.
The thing is that he, like you're saying, he's so passionate about the fitness thing. He's way more passionate about fitness than what I am. Yeah. Like, I'll just put that out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have way more desire around, like, business and marketing and sales. Yes. I just find that way more fucking interesting at this point. I've done fitness for, like, 10 plus years. Do you know what I mean? Like, you do get bored at some point. But, like, that's what makes him such a fucking good coach. Do you know what I mean? He'll do, like, a check-in or a one-to-one call client, and I'll be watching clips of it. And then, like, I just drop him a message and be like, dude, like, you're so fucking passionate about, like you're such a good coach, that's why you get results. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think a lot of coaches these days, like, they don't care about the person that's in front of them. They like have no real desire about, you know, helping them, apart from making sure that the fucking direct debit comes out every single month. And then they wonder why people don't want to, you know, work for them. They wonder why people don't, you know, want to push and get a result. It's like, because it's fucking glaringly obvious that you don't give a fucking shit. Do you know what I mean? And 100%. I think that's a lot of like the culture and like the online coaching industry, where it's like, it's there's no desire to help people anymore. I'm aware that I have little passion for like talking about fitness at this point. So like, guess what? I don't do any of the fulfillment with the clients, because like if I did, they're not going to get the best service that they want. Do you know what I mean? I know if I give them to Alex, he's going to drop in every single day. He's going to leave a comment on the workout. He's going to be like, "Why the fuck didn't you do this for?" Do you know what I mean? Whereas I'd be like, "Dude, if you don't do it like that, it's your fucking problem." Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it needs to be that moment of like realization of like what's best for the person here. And
definitely. Yeah, perfect. So with the transition from being obviously on the floor PT every day, working with clients face to face, to online coaching, how did you find that transition, like between the two? Like, was it a struggle at first because it was very, very different, or was it kind of you took a few clients over, so it wasn't that bad because you've already done kind of the basics with them in the gym? Like, how did you find that?
Yeah, it was fucking rough, mate, to be honest. Obviously, there was that risk that we were talking about before, but I signed up with a mentorship instantly. I was probably the easiest sale that they've ever had. It was like, jumped on a call, they were like, question, I'm like, nope, like, tell me the price and let's just fucking move forward. Do you know what I mean? That was it. The way I seen it, and I think this is how a lot of like in-person PT should see it, it's just rent, but it's for fucking online. So it's like online, you don't have to pay rent. So that money should go towards, you know, somebody that is going to help you move forward and make more money. Do you know what I mean? A gym literally takes money off you and helps you with nothing. If somebody's going to help you move forward, then like you should definitely fucking pay them. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think I had like 8 or 10 people move to the online standpoint. So like I say, it was like less than $1,000 a month, but it was a case of, I think for like the first 2.5 months or 3 months, I didn't take on a single client online. And I remember being part of this mentorship, and I was on like a little accountability group with these 2 other guys that were brothers. Yeah. And they were smashing it. Like they were moving up like 2.5, 3K, and they were just like, you know, moving in the right direction. I remember sitting here and thinking, what am I fucking not doing here that they're doing? And I just could not wrap my head around it. So I think maybe a week or 2 went past after sitting there, and I took the first guy on, and then another one, and then another one, and another one, and then it's a snowball effect. And I remember about 2.5 months after that, one of them just sacked it in and went back to his old job. He was earning about $3,000 a month. He was totally fine, but because he wasn't seeing like progress, because it kind of like stopped a little bit, he just totally fucking gave up. And I think in that moment, that's where I realized that I could probably beat 99% of people just for the sheer fact that I won't give up. I'll just keep fucking going. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So it is very much a snowball effect, but it's a conscious one where you have to realize, like, well, what was the input to get that output there? Do you know what I mean? Yes. I think a lot of PTs and online coaches, they'll, you know, sign up a client, they'll have a great, you know, person on board, they get a great result, but they don't reverse engineer that scenario and go, well, how the fuck did that happen? Like, where did that person come from? Like, what were the inputs to get that? And I think when you start looking at it from a business standpoint and going, well, how many of those inputs can we fucking do to get that output? Then it's not actually as difficult as what people think it is. Do you know what I mean? But it's a case of doing it. And at the start, like anything, it is fucking rough. It's shit because you're shit. I remember jumping on sales calls, and I would literally have a fucking script there, and I would read it like this, like, you know, so this is what you get. You get a trainer, you get a this, and I look back and I'm like, well, no wonder nobody signed up with you fucking do you know what I mean? Like, it was awful, it was bad, and I think that's one of the things I'll say to a lot of the lads that I start mentoring from the business standpoint is like, you will just fucking suck at the beginning, and that's totally fine, because we're going to do so many reps that it's going to be fucking impossible for you not to suck at some point. Yes. But like, you have to in the beginning, do you know what I mean? Because you wouldn't fucking be here if you didn't. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So definitely. I think it is just embracing the fact that you're going to be shit and just being like, I'll get better. It's cool because I'm going to keep going.
That's like working out, really, isn't it? It's like the more reps you do, the better you get at it, type of thing. Like if you go consistently, you'll improve, you'll look better. Then it's like sales, really. I think because I used to work in sales for gas and electric, which is just horrendous as well. But like you'll get 100 no's, but then you'll get like 3 yeses, and then once you get more confident in what you're doing, you get better at it, get more sales, stuff like that. So I suppose I always relate it back because I love going to the gym and stuff like that, but I get the thing with me, and I said it like to Ryan and me, Matt Hargreaves, I don't know if you know Matt, but he's an online coach as well, and I was speaking to him the other day about it, but my thing is I go 110% for 2 to 3 months, full throttle, meal prep, supplements, everything like that, don't drink, don't do anything, and then I'll not go for like 1 day after those 3 months up, and then I'll just fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
But I'll say like a massive improvement, have 1 day off, and then I'll just go back into old habits. So now this time around, I'm trying to just kind of keep a nice balance between the two.
You have to look at like why do you want to do it in the first place? Do you know what I mean? And sometimes like a fear-based goal is way stronger than like a beneficial based goal. So like for example, the reason that I'd done so well in PT is because I was so scared to go back to the fucking factory.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like there was a fear there. I'll drive past it on Team Valley and I get like fucking cold shivers. It's like trauma to me. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how much I fucking hate it. So it's like, well, of course you done well. Of course you got as far away from that as possible. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like I would sit back and I would think like, well, what's the desire for you to even want to get in better shape here? Do you know what I mean? Yes. And if you're sitting here thinking, well, is it to fucking get girls? Is it to fucking feel a certain way? Or is it so that when I do a podcast, because that's what matters most to me right now, I have a better presence and I carry myself in a different manner. Yes. And people just generally like people that are better looking and more in shape, so then that's going to help my business. And that's actually what I fucking care about here. Yeah. And it's like, well, that's probably a bigger reason for you to go stick to it for a longer period of time than just like, well, I just want to, fill up my shirt a little bit more. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't look at it from like what they truly want. They fall into the category of like, well, that's what most people do it for, so that's why I'm going to do it. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
So for me, it's like the reason why I want to do it is, one, I'm going to hopefully be more of an online presence now, so want to obviously look the part, look better. 2 is me, like I have constant breakouts on my skin, stuff like that, so now I'm upping my water intake, cutting down on the alcohol. I'm not going to say quitting because after these 60 days I plan on having drink again.
Tomorrow.
Nah, not
Travels.
on a Sunday. Not on a Sunday. Can't do it on a school night. But yeah, so stuff like that. But then biggest one for me is that mental well-being as well, because like suffered with like mental health problems in the past, stuff like that. Nothing too serious. But yeah, so my biggest thing is working out helps that. And I think it's the case for a lot of people. Yep. So, question to you is, what has been like your biggest mental struggle, and like what was it that you did to like overcome it? Any like advice for people who are struggling, anything like that? Yeah,
it's going to be the most straightforward, blunt advice in the world here. So, good. So the food factory was where I was at my absolute lowest, really bad. But people talk about like being stressed and depressed and stuff. Like, but put it this way, my face like broke out in psoriasis or eczema. I'm not sure which one it was. Like, because my stress levels were so fucking bad. Yeah. Like my chest was covered in it. Like my elbows, everything, my face. Like it literally looked like I'd been in a fire, like a house fire. I remember going to the doctors and them being like, oh, like maybe it's the stuff in the factory. Like it's maybe the stuff in the air and stuff. And I was like, well, they've got this other room that literally has nothing in it. Like I can maybe ask to get moved to there. So moved it to there. Spent about a month in there, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And what I realized was it's not the things that are around me, it's the fucking situation that I'm in, and I feel like there's no way out of this here. And I feel like that's where a lot of like stress and depression comes for a lot of young lads, where if there is a light at the end of the tunnel, well, you'll just fucking grip through it, you'll just crack on. But if there's nothing there and there's no way out, and this is just how it is for the foreseeable future, it's like, well, yeah, you're going to feel pretty fucking shit about yourself. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So the best advice I could say is just fucking do something about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to have the solution now, but you have to start moving in the right direction, because if you start moving in the right direction, you're going to find a little bit of light. And when you find a little bit of light, you're going to feel a hell of a lot better about yourself, and you're going to start to figure some things out that you weren't fucking seeing before.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys talk about, well, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that, but they do fuck all about it.
Yes.
Like, I remember a lot of lads in the factory, sick of this, don't like this is shite, this is crap. They're still there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
100%.
well, they don't have to fucking move to Dubai, but like, fuck me, go get a different job. You know, go do something else, go spend your time in a different way. Do you know what I mean? But
100%.
It's literally a case of like, there's no like, here's the 4 steps that you have to do to get out of the situation. You just have to start doing something about it. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Find your why.
Yeah, just find something, and don't you know, bullshit around the scenario. Like I was saying to you, I didn't start fitness out of passion. It wasn't a case of like, I want to help 1 million people. I was fucking desperate. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's totally fine. And you know, whenever I speak to a lot of young lads, they're like, well, I fucking resonate with that, and that sound. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you literally just have to do something about it. Do you know what I mean? And it can be the smallest step, but like, that step is going to make you realize that actually there is a way out of this, and I'm not just stuck. Do you know what I mean?
I know you said there's going to be the bluntest answer, but I think that's one of my favourite answers that I've had, because the reason I do this question on every podcast, because it's kind of what I want to do for, like, as a segment, just to kind of show people, obviously everybody goes through it, you're not kind of the only person who does it. So I'll have this conversation with friends, family, everything like that, but that answer, I think, has probably been the realest, because like, other people's like, get up early, drink water, eat well, where yours
get a fucking grip.
Yours is like very real, and it's like, you don't need to get into fitness, you don't need to do all this stuff. Yes, all that stuff will naturally help, but just do something about it, find your why. Like, I really like that one, so no, thank you for that, Ryan, mate, because I've never actually heard like that perspective of it, because mine is getting out in the sun. Like, that's the first thing I would tell anyone struggling is, go on like 1 walk a day, start your day with a walk. And I know it's very generic, because everybody's here, but that's what helps me. So I've got like the dog, so what I've started doing is gym in the morning, come back, walk the dog, shower, work, then do the same on dinner time, tea time, stuff like that. But before I had the dog, I used to like just go on a like morning walk to the shop, like whatever. I know older people, when they retire and they're by themselves, like they'll go to like the shop to buy a paper, walk back, stuff like that. So mine is always get out as much as you can. Like, first thing, set your day off nice. But that's probably like a very real, just do something about it. Don't sit there and complain. I'll
tell you where I think like 99% of people's frustration comes from. I think it comes from the fact that like, they trick themselves into thinking they care more about something than they actually fucking do. So, as an example, somebody might say like, I really want to fucking lose weight, like that's my main focus right now. But they haven't lost weight for the last 5 years. It's like, you're more than capable of doing it. It's literally an input-output scenario.
Yes.
But you don't actually want to do it to the point where you fucking do it. So your frustration isn't coming from the fact that you're fucking fat. Your frustration is coming from the fact that you're tricking yourself that you don't want to be fucking fat, but actually you do. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you're always going to be frustrated if you don't actually want to do things that you're tricking yourself into thinking that you do want to fucking do. Because you're never going to fucking do them. Do you know what I mean? It's a case of where like, I'll sit on a call with somebody and say, you know, I don't think I'm capable, I don't know if I can do X, Y, and Z. So, well, if I put a gun to your head and say I'm going to shoot it in the next fucking 6 months, could you lose a pound? It's like, oh yeah, well, you understand the input then, so you are capable of doing it. It's just the desire isn't there to want to do it. And I think that's where a lot of lads fall into this trap, where it's bad, but it's not bad enough that they do anything. And I think that's the worst scenario anybody can be in, where it's like, I hate my job, but it doesn't want to make me hang myself yet, so I kind of just fucking stay in it. Or it's like, my boss is a total bellend, but like, he does get me pizza on a Friday, so I guess I'll fucking stay here. It's like, you're much better going to like the darkest place possible and being like, this is fucking horrendous, this is it, This is like total blackness, because then at least that's the point of no return, and you can only move forward from that point. Do you know what I mean? So I think there is power in just like letting it get as worse as you possibly can. I've sat on calls with people where we're literally halfway through, and I'm just like, listen, I think we should catch up in 6 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, why? I want to move forward. I'm like, you don't.
Yeah, you can tell.
I want you to sit in this. I want you to gain an extra 10, 15 kilograms, feel really, really shit about yourself, and to the point where like you're almost willing to give up. And then I want us to do something about it. Yeah. Because then I know that you're actually going to want to do something, not just feel like you do, but you actually fucking don't.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's a very real perspective as well, though, because you'll get all these online coaches, like, even if they can tell somebody's not going to be 100% committed, they're like, revenue, let's get you started. Yeah. Where I think you openly saying that there is like proven as well, like, we'll work, but let's work when the time's right for you, rather than me just taking, say, like the payments off them, and then like 6 months down the line you're still getting like the revenue off them, but they're not putting in the input because that's not benefiting them. Which
so we got a client, I'll say his name, he won't mind, a lad called Jack, and I was working with Jack. I've passed him on to Alex now, but Jack was a case of where somebody's losing 10 kilograms and then gaining 10 kilograms back, and then losing it and gaining it, and it's just constant like up and down, up and down, up and down. And we jumped on a call, and I literally said to him like how do you feel about that? He's like, well, I feel like I'm putting the work in, but I'm not, and I really want to do this. And I said, well, I just said, I went, you don't. Like you're causing frustration because you're tricking yourself into thinking that you care more about this than what you actually fucking do. Yeah. And it was one of those conversations where like it's uncomfortable, we're both fucking sweating, it's not nice, do you know what I mean? But like, guess what? He's fucking crushing it now, because when at the end of the call, it's like, well, I'm going to move you to Alex, he's going to work with you. And I literally said to him, I think in 3 months you're going to be back to square one again. Yeah. And every other month I drop my text and I'm like, have you proved me right yet? ? Yeah. Like, have you fucked up yet? ? And it's like, sometimes when you work with guys, like, you have to use that, like, go fuck yourself, like, mentality of them wanting to prove you wrong. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want him to fuck up. Like, I wish the absolute best for him. He's a mint dude. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if him being in a better place is thinking that I'm a fucking prick, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll ruin his perspective of me for the best of him. Like, that's totally fucking cool. Yeah, like, apply that pressure onto him a bit, and it gives him that accountability. You have to do it. Do you know what I mean? I think one of the best things you can do is tell everybody what your goals are. Yeah. Back yourself into a corner, so you have to fucking go do it, or look like a total fucking bellend. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Speaking about that too, I think before I touch on that, actually, like with what you're saying, as a man, like, there's going to be probably loads of people who jump on the back of this, leave comments, whatever, with what I'm about to say. But I think, as a man as well, if somebody's saying, you're going to fuck up, you're going to go back to square one, you're naturally just like, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, it's it. Men are very egotistical people. Like, I don't care who you are, at some point in your life, you're like, you do something just to prove a point, and that's it. Yeah. Like, every man's done it. Like, I've done it, I'm still doing it, I will do it with the podcast, because I know there'll probably be people, you'll do 10 episodes and that'll be it. Well, that's literally what I was just about to say to you. Like, if I'm going to sit here, I'll be real with you, the chances are, according to stats, you will not make it past 20 episodes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's, and that's like, before I go live, I want to get 20 episodes recorded, so then when I'm posting like one a week, stuff like that, I can still be recording, then it'll get to a point where it's like, record, move on. Biggest thing for me is guests, so I probably will do like episode 2, talk about something else with like certain people. But my biggest thing is, even if I have to just sit and talk shit with somebody, I want to continue doing it like constantly, because the reason why I started it is because I love in-depth, deep conversations about stuff, whether it's stuff like this, like people's experiences, anything like that, or talking about like, did aliens build the pyramids, like stuff like that, just random shit. I love having those conversations which normally you'll only find yourself talking about at 5 o'clock in somebody's kitchen after a night out. So this is kind of a place where I can see stuff from different people's perspectives, talk about stuff, and like have them conversations. So for me, like,
even if I've get repeat guests on or I have the same person on every week, like when the football season starts, I want to create like another one solely on like the football.
Yeah.
But have that as like a separate one and kind of just make not just another story like is the branding, and then just like have football in the title as well.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, and I want to start posting more on social media like of like these clips, stuff like that. So when I get a few more recordings done, so I've got one after you as well this afternoon. I want to start then releasing stuff on TikTok, on Instagram, but with the training as well to keep us accountable for like my training, because I want to get like back in the gym properly, where last week I have done, but before that I was like not going for ages, going once, not going for ages again. But I think that was with obviously with Everlast closing and bike, I started a new gym in Wallsend, one gym it's just opened, and I was up early every morning, but then like the anxiety of getting myself out the door and going to a brand new place, not knowing like what the layout was like and stuff like that, I was like putting it off. But what I think I'm going to start doing just to go alongside it is like clips for TikTok, potentially like YouTube as well. And then if I'm constantly posting, it's going to make it be like, right, so everyone's kind of expecting it now. Like if I'm not going to go, I'm going to get called out on it. Like, so like you say that before, like holding yourself accountable, like doing like talking about it so much that people kind of expect it, so you have to do it.
Well, that's it. It's like everybody knows what the fucking formula is. Do you know what I mean? You have to be a not to know how to fucking lose weight. Like, you know how to lose weight, yeah? But you just don't fucking do it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know if you want the podcast to do well, you're going to have to do a certain amount of volume, you're going to have a certain amount of frequency, you're going to have to put yourself out there, you're going to have certain conversations. But it's like, well, what's the chance of you doing it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Most people, it's pretty fucking low. So it's like, that's the opportunity where you can sit and go, I did do it, Ryan, by the way. Like, go fuck yourself. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Which is like, that's what you need, isn't it? Do you know what
is it? I think I was watching Chris Williamson the other week when he'd done like a single one where he's just answering questions, and I think it's something like 99% of podcasts don't make it past 20 episodes.
Yeah, 20 episodes. Then, if you make it past 20, you're in the top 1% of all podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like, how low does the barrier have to fucking be?
Yeah, and then after that, it's like only 60% of that 1% end up like continuing on after like 100 again. Yeah. So it's like, for me, if I can just continue the output, continue with what I'm doing, then that's the goal for me. Is just firstly 20 is the goal, let's break that, like break into that 1%. Then after that, let's just remain consistent. We'll have obviously weeks where we might not do anything, but the positive of doing it the way I'm doing it is, even if I'm on holiday, I just need to take my laptop, take my camera, mic, and I can still record I've got no excuses not to do one really, other than getting guests on, which is proving a lot more difficult than what I originally thought it would.
Well, if you need help on the pitch, then I can help you with that, because you just need to make it sound so amazing for them and so beneficial for them.
Yeah. So. That's what I'll probably have to do, to be fair, because I've got some very, very interesting people on, luckily, who have a lot of people I've met through promo, and like they're coming on solely just because I know them, but what they do like is very unique, very interesting. I don't think anyone else local kind of does what they do, like similar to yourself. So I'm hoping once obviously they start, when I air everything, it'll start obviously attracting more people for like especially local businesses and stuff like that. But it's like people cancelling and rescheduling. Like I was meant to do, I think you were meant to be like the 5th or 6th episode recording, then you became episode number 2.
Right, yeah.
So
and I nearly cancelled because I got a fucking chest infection. I'm holding in the cough. We're gonna get through it. The thing is, like you're going to get better over time, so you're going to attract better people. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go back to Chris Williams' first podcasts, like, who are they people? They're no ones. Do you know what I mean? Like, John Peterson's not going to jump on the first one, is he? Do you know what I mean? You're not going to have Hermosi jump on his fucking second one. Do you know what I mean? It's just not going to happen like that. So it's like, that's the sucking period that I was talking about before. It's like, I'll coach a client on sales and stuff. I'm like, wow, you're so good at sales. Like, it just comes out your mouth. It's like, because I've done fucking 800 sales calls.
Yes, goes back to what we were saying before.
Of course,
doesn't
I'm
it?
fucking good. Like it would be, it would be unreasonable not to be good. Do you know what I mean? Coached like 400 fucking clients, of course I can get somebody a result and not think about it twice. Like I've done it that many fucking times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you've done it, if this is your second podcast, how good are you going to be? Not
yeah,
very.
exactly.
And that's totally fucking cool because we're doing something about it. We're moving forward. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. And even if when I've finished editing and stuff like that, I'm going to send like a few people like the episodes that I've had on recording anyways before I put it live. And even this one compared to Alex, like the way I've navigated it has been like so much better. I know we've still went on tangents, stuff like that, which is fine, but me and Alex were like all over the place. And I know you mentioned it's probably him as well, but like I get sucked into those conversations as well, rather than being so I know we've went on little tangents, but then we've kind of brought it back into like what we want to discuss. But the first one, even the introduction, it was like very like stop-starty. I know today was similar, but wasn't as bad, so it's just going to get better and better. Like you say, like repetitions, it's the more you do it, the better you get.
But sometimes like the best conversations I'll have, even when it's in like sales and speaking to prospects and stuff, it's the one where like the script doesn't get followed.
Yes. Because
like sometimes you don't have the questions yet because you don't know the person's scenario. Do you know what I mean? So if you come in here and you're like, well, I've got these questions about PT, and like you don't know that I'm a fucking NASA fucking explorer fucking super dude. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, you're not gonna answer those fucking questions. You're not gonna ask those fucking questions yet. But like, if you find that out halfway through just speaking to somebody, it's like, well, I thought we were gonna go in this direction, but we're actually gonna fucking go over here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it is having that fluidity of like just see how it fucking goes. Do you know what I mean? What's the worst case scenario? You don't put it out. Well, I guess.
No, definitely. So like the thing is, like guests of like, oh, can you send over the questions you'll be asking? I'm like, I don't do questions, I do discussion points, because in podcasts it's a conversation. Like if I'm just asking you a question, you're answering it, it's not a conversation. People's gonna get bored of that, man. So I do meeting points, and obviously there is, I think, I'm just looking now, like 3 or 4 questions that I do have on every podcast, but that's just because obviously that's part that I want to have segments on. But touching back on the agenda, it's not something that I've actually sent across, but what you mentioned earlier about moving to Dubai. So correct us if I'm wrong, but you actually spent a little bit of time in Bali as well still when you were working. Was it like a month or so out there, or?
Yeah, so we've been to Bali twice now. So we originally went 2 years ago, and that was for like a month. And people will be watching and be like, wow, what a luxury, a month in Bali. I hadn't been on holiday for 5 years prior to that.
Yeah.
So it's like, leave me the fuck alone, do you know what I mean? So like we went for a month, proposed while we were there, so we got engaged, it was amazing stuff. Fucking went back the next year. We went for... And it was like I think it was like 2 months. I think because that's what the visa was for. And originally we were gonna basically just do like a visa trip to Malaysia, then come back. But then we seen that like the apartments in Malaysia was lush, so like, well, how about we move there because the internet connection will be better, etc. Got there and it was just awful. But we paid for like 3 months up front at that point. But but Bali's like. Bali's a weird one for me because it's such an amazing, beautiful place, but the internet's so fucking edgy, and it's like when you just work on your laptop, it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? If you're not doing Zoom calls, it's fine, but like a lot of my work is on Zoom calls, do you know what I mean? But Bali's one of those places where like the environment's just nice, it's lush, it's not the UK, everybody's happy, do you know what I mean? Which is a really weird thing if you're from the fucking UK.
Yes.
So yeah, have you been to Bali before?
I haven't, no, it's on the list. I've got quite a few because I want to start travelling a lot more, because I find myself, I didn't go on holiday for like 3 years, obviously because of lockdown and stuff like that as well. But I went to Australia in November for only 3.5 weeks. I nearly I wish I did now, but I nearly cancelled my flights when I was out there, because I could stay for up to like 6 months, but I wasn't on like a working holiday visa or anything like that. So if I did get a job, I would have had to be cash in hands off the boot. So my friend lives out there, so I had a place to stay, everything like that. So that's a goal. I think eventually I'd want to move there permanently, because when I was there, like you say, everyone's so happy, but it's like when you go to Newcastle and you're in a shop, it's like there's no conversation when you're buying stuff with the cashier. Where over there, like when you're grocery shopping, it's like as they're putting stuff through, it's like, how are you? How's your day going? What you been up to? Like, and that's like me. Like, I was passing the people in the street and I say like good morning and stuff now just off my experience there, and like sometimes I still get like looks
what
like
a weirdo.
What you doing? You don't know this.
Another
Other than the
crackhead.
people in my street. So I've done it.
I haven't got any change, mate. Just leave us alone. Do you know what I mean?
So I think I was in Silverlink. I was picking up some just cheap sunglasses for like, you know, going out and about and keeping in the car and stuff like that when you're driving. So I was like, I think I was in JD, and do you know the people who like stay on the front of the door? I walked in, I was like, morning, how are you? And they were like, good, thanks. And that was it. I was like, okay. Walked up, had a look at the trainers and that. Walked back out. I was like, bye, have a good day. And they were like, and it's just going like from Australia then back to here. It's like something like I really liked from seeing it from there, because like the culture. But I've heard it quite often. So I've heard a few people mention Bali's the same. I've heard people in Thailand are very, very similar as well.
We're looking at Thailand as well. I think we want to try Thailand at some point and just see what it's like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, I think it's similar to Bali, but I think it's less glamorized. So
yes,
I think you can get like a really nice fucking penthouse. It's actually not that expensive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's we'll have a look at that. The thing is, it's environment. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it really does matter where you spend your time. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if you're going to be in a place where it's sunny fucking 24/7,
yes,
unless it's the rainy season, do you know what I mean? even then it's nice rain, do you know what I mean? It's not Newcastle rain. But like it's a place where it's nice, people are happier, smiling, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You finish your day by going to the fucking beach and having a bing tang. Do you know what I mean? Anyone that's been to Bali would be like, yes, a bing tang, love that.
What was the Bali stomach like when you were there?
I got it the first year, she got it the second year. So it wasn't too bad the second time for me. But like the environment's massive. Like I don't know if you've been to Dubai before. Have you been or?
No, that's another one. I was actually looking, because a lot of my holidays now, because all my friends like the Ibiza stuff like that, it doesn't interest me. Like I went on holiday to Spain a few weeks ago with like family, and then in December I'm going to Krakow on my own. So a lot of my holidays are going to be solo holidays.
Right, cool.
So I want to do Dubai, but I feel like Dubai is one of those hot like places where you better go with someone, where the likes of Bali, Australia, stuff like that, you can get away with solo travelling. But
I wouldn't say really Dubai's like a run around place like what Bali is, if that makes sense. Bali, you get a fucking moped and you do what the fuck you want, do you know what I mean? But I don't think Dubai's that type of place. But it's the environment of like all of a sudden you're bottom of the barrel again. Do you know what I mean? So I remember the first time I went, I'm the type of dude that wears joggers and Crocs everywhere. I'm literally wearing joggers and Crocs right now. I'm like wearing flannel. Do you know what I mean? Like I meet my pals and be like, you literally look broke. Like you look like a fucking homeless person. But like you go to Dubai and you are surrounded by just wealth everywhere. So it's like, well, you are bottom of the barrel now. I remember we had a place on the Palm. And everywhere down the Palm, it was just like Rolls Royce, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Rolls, Bentley. And it's just like, holy fucking shit, like the amount of wealth here is unreal. Do you know what I mean? Versus like, when you're in Newcastle, it's like it's such a small pond in the reality of things. And it's the mindset of the people that you're around as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
it goes back to our first conversation, doesn't it? Like, for example, if you did move like to Dubai, I'm pretty sure it's like tenfold better for starting at like your business side of things as well.
It's fucking tax free, and that definitely fucking helps.
Do you know what I mean? About to say it's like 0% tax over there, isn't it?
That's definitely the number one reason why I would move there. I'm not going to beat around the bush with that one.
So you've got obviously that, but like you've just mentioned the environments before. Like if you're friends and like you're building relationships with those who are like up here, you're starting down here when you're in Dubai. It's like if you're surrounding yourself from then type of like personalities, your mindset will then change again and be like, right, there I'm now like friends with these, and if I want to remain in their company, I need to elevate my game. So that's one of the biggest motivations for why I actually want to move, because everyone, like I mentioned, my friends, I love them, like do anything for them and vice versa, but they're like content and happy, where I'm now at a point where I'm not better than them, nothing like that, but I want to do more, I want to experience things, I want to elevate my game, where I think surrounding yourself with people, like-minded people helps with that.
Yeah. I mean, put it like this, it's like when we speak about before about like perspectives and things that you see things through. If you're somebody that's earning, let's say, $2,000 a month and your mate's earning 5, like you might have a little bit of desire to push further, harder, let's earn some more, etc. If you're somebody who makes $100,000 a month and your mate makes, $1 million a month, there's a way bigger gap there, and you would think that, well, the person with $2,000 a month should have more desire because it's less. It's like, no, because his surrounding is so much fucking lower. He's closer to that person. The guy who makes $100K a month versus like he has his pal that makes $1 million a month. He's sitting and thinking, I'm so fucking far behind you that I have to just graft and put all the fucking work in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the higher up that you get, there is bigger and bigger gaps, and that's where people's fucking desire comes from. I think people think that, well, when somebody hits a certain point, they'll become content. It's like, no, because they find a friend that makes fucking $5 million a month, and they're like, fucking bastard. Do you know what I mean? Like, what? One of my pals just sold his company for fucking $250 million.
It's crazy, isn't it?
When you sit there and you're just like, cool. There's a big way to go here, dude. Do you know what I mean? But like, it resets expectations. Do you know what I mean? Of what's possible. I remember being an in-person PT and making that $5K a month and just thinking like, wow, like that's the pinnacle. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I remember seeing like an online coach making $10K a month and thinking, holy fucking shit, like it's like doctor money. That's weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, how the fuck can you do that from your laptop? And then when you hit it and you're like, well, that was fucking easy. Like, what else is there? Like, one of my pals, he makes over $100,000 a month just from the online side of it.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, so there's another ceiling, there's another barrier. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, if you constantly reset your expectations because of your surroundings, it's like, well, you're going to keep fucking moving forward. Because I think a lot of people's problems is they don't even know what's possible. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I get some lads come in for like the mentor and I'll say, well, what's the goal? He's like, I just want to earn like 2-3K a month online, and like all of a sudden we're at 5-10.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you didn't want that because you didn't know that you fucking could do it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it is like setting expectations sometimes and thinking, well, what can I do? The guy, the friend that I was talking about has just sold his company. I always remember this. I was in an in-person session with him and we were talking about cars and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember I was asking like, what's like the dream car and stuff, and he was talking about his things, and he asked me, well, what's yours? And I pulled up a picture of like an M2 competition. I always thought that like, oh, that's just like the perfect car that I want and stuff. And he turned around and just went, you could do better than that. Yeah. And I just remember in that moment thinking, holy fuck, like somebody thinks more of me than what I think of myself. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Like this person's thinking like further ahead than even what I am for my own situation. Do you know what I mean? And I think that helps when you have that around you, it fucking helps. Do you know what I mean? Because it resets your expectations of yourself. Definitely, because I think a lot of people, like, you'll have that high expectation of yourself. Once you hit it, you're like, right, I'm at my level. Yeah. But then what you don't realise, you put that, like what you want about that ceiling, you put that ceiling on yourself a lot of the times until you come around and meet people like that and they're like, no, you can... You're here, but you can be here, and then just constantly like doing it. And I think that's half the battle. I think for a lot of people is they find somewhere where they're comfortable. They think that's their level, they're happy with that, and that's it. Where what separates people like that to people who do want to be better is that drive to keep pushing that ceiling. It's like you can have like a single story house, but then you can then move into like a townhouse which is like 3 stories. It's like, and each one is like an upgrade on the next, like more bedrooms, everything like that. And but if you'd never known the townhouse existed in the first place, you would have no desire for it. So it's like if you thought everybody in the world drives a fucking Toyota because everybody in your town drives a Toyota, you don't know a fucking Ferrari exists. So it's like, how can you possibly have the ambition for it unless you're just some fucking, Elon Musk thinking fucking dude that just wants to shoot for the fucking Mars. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you need to know it's there. Do you know what I mean? Unless you're going to be the first person that pushes past that, which 99.9% of people aren't going to be, and probably me or you if we're going to look at it in reality. But like, do you know what I mean? If If you know it exists, then yeah, like you've just completed half the fucking battle. You now know it's possible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
I think there's
totally
like I'll always look at like beliefs around like three things. Like you'll have beliefs where like it's so ridiculous that you believe that because so many billions of people have already done it before you.
Yeah.
So it's like weight loss. Somebody will be like, well, I can't lose weight. It's like, well, that's a really fucking dumb limiting belief because literally
Yeah.
billions of people have done you know, prior in history with less technology, less accessibility, etc. Dumb limiting belief.
In science and everything's just getting so much better. So like there's more like studies, everything like that, which means you've got more chance of doing it than previously.
So like that's I think that's like the base layer of limiting beliefs. The second layer is if you're looking at something that is quite difficult, but still people have done it before you. So like for example, run the 100 meters in under 10 seconds. Very, very difficult for most people, not impossible. People have done it before you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You're probably going to fall in a category of where if you put enough work in, you're probably going to achieve it. You know, some people will fall underneath where it's like, unfortunately, you're 5 foot fucking nothing, and it's like you're probably not going to run the 100 meters in 10 seconds. Do you know what I mean? It's
slightly
just not,
smaller than me.
Yeah, no, maybe we're not built for it. So it's like you can kind of get away with some of those limiting beliefs depending on scenarios.
Yeah.
You then have like limiting beliefs where it's like the Elon Musks and shit like that, where it's like, well, nobody's done it yet, so it's okay for him to have that limiting belief, but it doesn't mean it's fucking true.
Yeah.
So if like somebody turns around and goes, well, you know, well, it's impossible to get people on Mars, and it's like, well, we're moving forward to it. So like right now, we might want to see it as impossible because it's yet to be achieved, but it doesn't mean it fucking is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And when I'm listening to people say things upon themselves and tag themselves with certain labels and lines, I kind of look at those three categories and be like, is it in the impossible section, but like it's still fucking capable depending on the scenario? Or is it more like the absolute scenario of like, well, multiple people have done it before you, so like let's just fucking bin that and move forward.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think most people's lie in the bottom one, where it's like you can just forget about that and move forward. Do you know what I mean?
100%, mate. I totally agree. I think you can definitely do it. There's obviously points when it comes to the fitness side of things, there's like your genetics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for that first initial goal to get your arse moving and stuff like that, there's no can't do it. It's once you hit that top 1% barrier, that's when all that comes into play.
Yeah.
So
if we want to look like fucking Ronnie Coleman, do you know what I mean? Or fucking Jay Cutler or Arnold, do you know what I mean? Like, maybe we're not all going to get away with that, do you know what I mean?
But it's like a lot of people, like say myself, it's like me saying, I can't get big, but at the moment I'm not eating me cat. I'm not in a surplus or anything like that. But what I am going to do to cheat is I'm just going to go and test. Like it's not going to be beneficial. Like you need to do the foundations first, and you'll realise the results as soon as you start doing the foundations. And I think that's what like a lot of people do struggle. Like I don't know if it's struggling or if it's naivety or what it is, but I think a lot of people do that. And once they do realise like it is achievable, I just need to like motivate myself, find something within us to actually want it. Like I think that's the difference, and I think that's not just in fitness, that's within any, like what you mentioned about work before. Like yours was desperation, mine is, my biggest drive for this is, like I say, is the conversation side of things. And I just want to show people like you can't, like you're not struggling like by yourself, everything like that. But then also I'm really fucking interested in people's like experiences and lives, and might make us nosy or whatever, but if I can take like little bits of information from every guest I have on the show, then in my head that's just going to elevate me, change my perspectives on things, everything like that. And I think not many people have that outlook, because if I go like on the what's happening in the UK now with like the changeover of government, stuff like that, you can't have an opinion on stuff like that like these days either. It's like if you have an opinion, you get categorized in a group straight away, where you might, for me for instance, like I agree with little bits of each like party. Like I'm not going to go into politics because I don't really
your house on fire with the next week.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'll say whatever I do. I don't give a fuck. That's
no,
fine.
like the thing with me though is like I don't fully agree with any party, but like little bits of each party I'm like makes sense. If you could take that bit from like say the Conservatives, that bit from Labour, that bit from is it Reform or whatever.
But here's the thing: is like you're a smart human. That's why.
Yeah.
Most people aren't. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, at the end of the day, what people do is they group themselves into these categories of like, well, I'm this person, so I have to agree with everything that this person says. Like, I'm, I don't know, whatever it is in America, a liberal, a Republican. Do you know what I mean? I'm for Labour, whatever it might be. So it's like, I have to agree with everything that they say. An intelligent person sits back and, you know, decides what they want to believe or agree with or don't agree with and stuff. But unfortunately, the majority of the population can't do that. Do you know what I mean? So they're just categorized into this or that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
Like, for example, I love Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Do I agree with every single thing that he says? Definitely fucking not. But am I going to sit here and be like, well, because I don't agree with one thing, I don't agree with everything, or because I like one thing, I have to like everything? It's like, well, no. You can like this and not like this, and that's totally fucking cool. Do you know what I mean? But most people aren't that logical, unfortunately. Definitely
not. And I don't agree with this, by the way, but I was watching something, I can't remember, and it was like a similar conversation about opinions, and they were like, tell you what, it was like it was a podcast, and it was like one of the like comedy ones, or not like where they have chats like this, and they're like on about Hitler, very fucking bad person, fantastic fucking leader.
Yeah, true though.
Are they wrong?
They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Do I agree with what happened? Absolutely not. Let's just make that very, very clear. But it's like you say, like an opinion is like you say, like a lot of people these days, they automatically group themselves into that one.
It's black or white to them. There's no like line of, you know. So, it's like when most things don't fall into a category of like wrong or right. Most things are like, you know, more wrong or more right, or somewhere in the fucking middle. Do you know what I mean? That's a guarantee, by the way. It's got to be somewhere. But it's a case of like, people, like you say, will categorize Hitler as just, well, it's all bad. Well, so, you know, he was actually quite a charismatic leader. Do you know what I mean? If you listen to some of the things that he said, I actually agree with. Like, maybe I do agree that people shouldn't be fucking smoking, and I think I would have got rid of all that as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like, does that mean I also agree that, you know, with the fucking atrocities that he done? Like, no.
No.
Do you know what I mean? But like, there's not just a black and white, but people like to think that way because it's easier. So like, for example, I'm quite, you know, brutal with my choice of words sometimes. I tend not to think, and I'll say, you know, gay, retard, whatever it might be. It's like, but it's the intention behind it. Do you know what I mean? If I was sitting here with an aggressive intention and meant it in a certain way, then I would expect some backlash. But if I've said it to my pal because we're taking the piss out of each other, like, do I really mean it in that type of way? But it's far easier for somebody to just take a word at face value than actually go, well, what was the intention behind that? Do you know what I mean?
Like, what was the context? What's the way it's being said? What was the context,
Do you know what I mean? And I think, like, especially when it's, like, online these days, people are just lazy, and it is a case of just, like, well, this made me feel this type of way, so, like, regardless of the context, this is what I'm going to categorize it as. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think the more that you do the online side of stuff, like, you just become hardened to it, to think, like, I really don't give a fuck what your opinion is, I'm just going to say exactly what I want to say.
That's going to be my biggest struggle, I think, because obviously with me not having much of a social media presence, like, at
heads
all.
up, let me just don't agree with Hitler too much though. Like, that's the one thing I would definitely put in there as like a hard barrier. Do you know what I
mean? I want to make that very clear. Like, I do not agree with
before this
Hitler
gets shut down on the second episode. There's only a small percentage of things that we agree with him on. The rest of it is fucking incredibly questionable.
Yes, we do not agree with Hitler. However, we're making a point that
smoking is bad.
And smoking is bad, yes.
Smoking is bad. Yeah.
But we do not agree with anything else that happened throughout his leadership.
We just uncancelled ourselves on the second episode.
Massively so. But I think the biggest thing for me when everything does it is getting used to the comments, because they're not all going to be positive. And the most posting I do on social media is I do the odd TikTok for like lifestyle and travel. Do stuff like with the dog and stuff like that, but nobody's really commenting, like hating on stuff like that. Where podcasts, I know for a fine fact, I'm bracing myself for it, I'm ready. Everybody's going to have an opinion, because like you say, nobody's going to fully agree. But the reason why I brought up obviously the politics and stuff for opinions is I think it's relatable for like fitness or businesses and stuff like that, because if you go to somebody like, what do? I work a 9 to 5. Why don't you not go out and like start your own business? I will hold my hands up. I've been the exact same as well. But people are like, well, it just doesn't work. Not everybody can be a business owner, and it's like, yeah, you'll have people who solely just don't want to, and that's absolutely fine. But those people who were whinging, like you mentioned earlier, like, I wish I had like ran a business, like do it. What would you want to do? Trial and error. Like, try starting one. If it fails, start another one, doing something else.
I was on a walk with the missus the other day, and we were talking about this, and I was sort of looking back, and I used to get frustrated because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to do something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And all it was is I had zero value to provide to anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, the only reason someone's going to pay you money is to get something else in return.
Yes.
And if you haven't got a fucking clue what you're going to help them with, it's like, well, why the fuck would they pay you any money? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of lads sit there and go, oh, I want to start a business. I want to, do something else. I don't want to be in this job. But what value are you providing to somebody? Do you know what I mean? It's like, are you bettering their life in some way, shape or form? Because if you're not, there's a low chance of anyone giving you any money except your fucking
100%.
mum and dad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Definitely.
like, maybe even they won't once you get past a certain age.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's just like, in the beginning, you will literally have no value at all. Do you know what I mean? So you are going to have to help people for free on something that you might just be fucking good at. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to ask you about
getting
that.
in shape.
Yeah. Like, when you first started PTing, was the, like, if you were struggling at the beginning, was it the case where you were just, say in the gym, for example, go up and just give free bits of advice? Or
I do loads of free sessions with people.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
Free session upon free session. So, so when I first started the gym, there was about 5 other PTs there at the time, and they'd been there for a decent period of time. They were all fucking shit. They were all struggling. They barely had any clients at all. Obviously, I came in, and my philosophy was like, if I just sit at the fucking gym desk all day, anybody that walks in that was partially interested in PT, it's mine straight away. Because I'm the first point of contact for them. So like, where they would come in, they would do a session with somebody, they would go home.
Yeah.
I would come in, I would do one session that day, maybe nothing, like I would have no clients, I'd maybe do 2 or 3 free sessions, and I would just sit there at the front desk for 10, 12 hours.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, in the beginning, like, you're going to have to incorporate some form of debt. And like, sometimes that's financial debt for, learning things. But if it's not a financial debt scenario, it's an ignorance debt. Yeah. So like, you're going to have to pay that with your time, and you're going to have to put some form of work in. So like, at some point, if the podcast got to a certain point, there's a high potential that guests would reach out and want to fucking do it and might even pay you to do that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I would pay Chris Williams to be on his podcast. Would he take it? Definitely fucking not. Do you know what I mean? But like, he has leverage at that point. And I think a lot of people in the beginning, their ego is so fucking big that they don't want to do shit for free. Do you know what I mean? 100%. Versus like, I remember the first sessions I used to put people through, it was awful. It was shocking. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't understand, the structure of putting somebody through a session that wasn't just what I did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't understand somebody's needs. So that's where the volume comes in of like, well, if I just do 100 free sessions, at least I'll be good when I get my first paying client and they'll actually fucking stay with me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, working for free is a big thing, I think, in the beginning, especially if you have no other option and you don't really have the leverage or the backing to take, money off somebody.
Yeah. No, definitely. And that was like the biggest thing. So, PT, and I know obviously a lot of people try it, struggle, end up going back to the regular 9-5s and stuff like that. So for me, I've seen quite a few people who have been successful started exactly how you've mentioned there, like just free advice, everything like that, and then you just all of a sudden see them kind of blow up and take off. And it's good to see, especially when it's local, I think, because when you see someone who you personally know or you've crossed paths with, I know probably not everyone has this, but I always root. So even if I'm not a client or anything like that, I will share videos, like videos, comment on videos, stuff like that. Like, just always celebrate wins of people who I've crossed paths with, know stuff like that. Because for me, it's like, why not celebrate those things? Even if you're not best friends with someone or they're not in your friendship group, or you know them to say hello to or whatever, or you've known them just off social media. It's like, celebrate the wins. Like, there's enough of it to go around.
Do you not think people only celebrate to a certain point, though?
Do it, yeah.
So, like, for example, it depends where the person's barrier is themselves, and I think what they've achieved. So, like, somebody gets a job at fucking, I don't know, Tesco, put it on their Facebook, they'll get 200 people being like, well done, congratulations, that's amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
a guy starts his own business, takes on his first client, and he's just his best mate. That's like, oh, well done, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think a lot of people like to celebrate people that aren't doing as well as them, or aren't as far away as what they are.
Yeah.
But I think when people start making themselves realize that, oh, well, that person's achieved a lot more than what I thought I was going to achieve myself, and it makes me feel like shit. People are a lot more resilient to being there and cheering people on. Yeah. I think especially in the beginning, people need that, like, well done. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like, and it's not there. But then when they blow up so big that you can't ignore them, that's when the well done comes in. But at that point, you don't really need it anymore.
Yeah, because you've already done the
hardship,
haven't you? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People turn up for the party, but they don't want to turn up for work.
It's like the mate stuff as well. When people start their own businesses as well, it's like, oh, say a clothing brand, it's like, oh, can you get some free merch? Where for me, if it was my friend started his own clothing, I'd be buying at like full retail price, because it's going to benefit them, it's going to help them. Then maybe if they do end up taking off, they can chuck us some free merch to them. But when they're in that growing phase, it's like, you need to do everything you can to like support them. So I know, to be fair, when you've mentioned that, a lot of people are very much like that, and I don't understand it, because personally it's like, I like to celebrate everyone's wins. Like, I've got one of my friends who lives in Australia. She's doing her, like, I don't know what it is over there, but it's like equivalent to the PT courses. But she'll start, like, I'm trying to get her to start doing like TikTok vlogging and stuff like that, because she does like Instagram, but doesn't like kind of want to pursue that sort of stuff, but she's so good in front of a camera, and like, she's good at what she does. Like, she's only doing it in fitness because she loves it, but before and after pictures from like 2021, I think she started going to the gym ready for Australia, and just carried on over there, like off phenomenal. I'm like, you would get very good traction because it's just a normal person. Like, you've been through it all, like pretty much like you and Alex. Like, you trial and tested, and she's like, oh, I don't know. I was like, well, you do it to your, the close friends story on Instagram. I was like, if you're doing it already to them, take that off and do it to everybody, because you'll get maybe the odd 1-2 people, but everyone else will benefit from it. And what she started doing now is the gym that she goes to, it's like class based only, so it's like group setting, but they've like the other week they gave her like one of the microphones and follow her around the workout, and she'd say she like really enjoyed it. I was like, I've been telling you for like the past 6 months, and she's like, nah, I really appreciate you, I was like, I want everybody I know to do well. Like, I don't just want me to do well and like you not to do as good and stuff like that.
If all your mates are doing well, they've just reset the average of the group.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
goes back to the environment that we were on about earlier, doesn't it?
Literally. So like, if you've got somebody that brings the group average IQ down by fucking 20 points, it's like, you might want to get rid of that little fucker. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you're resetting like the lowest possible standard. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have people that like excel and achieve, and they're just going to keep pushing forward. You're going to have a lot of people 100%. That just like sit in the middle, and they're the average of it. And you're going to have some people at the bottom. The benefit of cutting out the bottom people is the average people now become the bottom, and they don't really want to be the bottom. They prefer to be the average. So they keep pushing forward, and they become pushers. But what most people do is they have this person that sets a fucking anchor on the group, and then they wonder why nobody's moving forward.
Yeah.
It's like, well, because you've got 2 people that are pushing everything, and everyone else is just along for the fucking ride.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
It's like anything. So, like, she posted a picture as well, like the same person, and she's like always whinging about like how she always looks bloated and stuff like that. And then she posted a picture on her story, so I like replied to the story. I was like, abs are ab in the day. And it's just, little stuff like that. Like, your mate, like, who's doing his level 2 that I mentioned earlier, he's lost something like 2-3 pounds in like the so I can't remember the duration, but like he sent it to us the other day. I was like, and then he posted a picture in the gym the other day. I was like, that's class, mate. I was like, you can tell the difference. And he's just done his first like TikTok like real stuff, and I commented on that. I was like, mate, it's sick. Like, just, you're not doing much. Like, it's free to be nice, it's free to comment, free to share it. Like, you don't have to purchase all the time. You can help people by doing like the basics, really. And it's just the type of person I am, and I think a lot of people who are like successful do think more like that, and on like on like kind of gatekeeping and stuff like that. They like want everybody else to be able to.
Well, this is it. So like, I had a lad that did a fitness photo shoot with us. He was an in-person client. Then he became an online client, did a fitness photo shoot, got absolutely fucking shredded, looked amazing. At the same time, he was working at like B&M, like hated his job, absolutely shit. Wanted to do the in-person stuff. Basically, just helped him through that. Told him how he should set it up and stuff. Now he's left his job at B&M. I think he's making like 2 to 3k a month. Like, he's loving it. Literally jumped on a call the other week with him. Spent an hour, just answered any question that he had around like the online coaching side of stuff. Zero fucking intentions to like sign him up as a client, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, you do things because like you know it's all going to come around eventually. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy to spend an hour with somebody and help them, because I know in 6 months' time, like, if they have a question and they want to move forward, I'm the first person they're going to come towards.
Yeah.
There's a lad I'm working with at the minute. We spoke, I mean, probably about a year ago, and he reached out recently, and he's signed up for basically 6 month big paid in full, and he's like doubled his business in like fucking 30 days. Yeah. And it's like, I don't mind waiting 6 to fucking 12 months, but like most people are so fucking like, oh, like I need it now. Do you know what I mean? You ruin every single bridge that you fucking got. Definitely. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so sometimes just put it out there, like give the person the help that they want, and like it will come round whenever it's right. And if it never comes round, it's totally fucking fine. It's cool. Especially if you video it and you get a bunch of content from it as well. Do you know what I mean? It's double fine.
No, definitely. 100%. Nah, mate, that's been class. Just a few things, obviously, before we jump off, is one of the questions. I know I gave you a little bit of a heads up for this one, but I did him with Alex, and he really struggled with it on the spot, so I've been giving everyone heads up now, just so they can have a little time to think about it, because it is such a tough question. Alex actually ended up doing 2, so he done like... Oh,
he's fucking cheating, man. Honestly, that's typical Alex. That like
he done one that was just celebrities, and then one where it's like friends and family. So honestly, the question is dodgy, like. He is like, but he's a Man U supporter, so that's what you expect. But yeah, so 3 people, past or present, who you could invite to a dinner party. It can be celebrities, can be friends, family. Who would there be and why?
I laughed when you sent this over, because we ask our clients this whenever they do like an onboarding form, because it just builds that connection of like, we know what type of person they are, we know what they're interested with. What I'm going to ask is a little bit of context. How much time do I have at this dinner table with these people? Is it an hour, or are we talking like a day, or? Because that's going to change the answer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've never actually thought about this part myself. To be fair, you put me on the spot, Ryan.
Oh, Uno reversed. I've Uno reversed
it. Nah. Let's say like 3 to 4 hours, like in average like dinner party. Say if you invited people around, like Sweet. You've got dinner, you chill for a bit afterwards, stuff like that. Because
my thought process is, if you're going to pick people where you want to learn shit from,
needs to be
an hour, 3 hours isn't going to be enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what's the point of inviting Elon Musk when the dude just is going to go on a fucking tangent?
It can't be longer. It's like you're hosting a dinner party, mate.
So like, I'm going to go with like some funny shit. So like, I'd probably just have a laugh. So I'd probably invite like Tate, McGregor, and fucking Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice just as being the part. Do you know which Beetlejuice I'm talking about?
Are you about the mean one?
The little black dude with the fucking big googly eyes, fucking hilarious. I just feel like that combo is like, you know, there's enough like substance there to carry probably a 3-hour conversation, but I'd still sit and fucking piss myself anytime Beetlejuice ever talked. Do you know what I mean? You come up with some ridiculous shit, especially in that context. So there's nothing like personal, family, and all that sort of stuff. I would just go with funny. I think I would just have a good 3-hour fucking laugh and then probably get back to work. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Really. And then who were the other 2? Tate and McGregor.
Tate and McGregor, yeah. Just because I like that shit. Do you know what I mean? I like their mentality around stuff. It's pretty raw. It's real. Yeah. And I feel like Beetlejuice would have a hard time with them, and I think that would be fucking hilarious.
That would be fun. McGregor and Beetlejuice on its own would be quite funny.
Just Beetlejuice by himself's great, so like chuck those other 2 in it. What a fucking wonderful combo. Yeah.
That's a great one that I was not expecting. Beetlejuice. The other 2 I can expect, but...
Yeah. Beetlejuice is like the wild card in there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He's the one that's going to stir some shit up. Do you know what I mean? Make some false claims, some accusations. Yeah. Should be good. Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Very, very different to mine, but I like it still.
What's yours? Is yours more family, or is it...
Well, because Alex done 2, I've done 2, but my actual 3, because I said mine.
3? Are we doing 3 or are we doing 2? How many are we doing? Oh, you mean like 3 different
guests.
people? Oh,
Yeah,
3
yeah,
guests. I
guests.
thought you meant like Alex done 2, so I done fucking more.
No, so like
go
he'd done
for it.
like 2 groups of 3. So
Right,
when
yeah,
I was on the pod with him, I'd done 2 groups of 3, but I
Yeah.
think mine, it sounds so horrible, but I didn't choose like personal.
Yeah.
So I went with people who I would learn, like laugh with and learn from. So mine was Chris Will again, because obviously I've got that like relationship like from previously working with him, and when I was doing my marketing apprenticeship, I've got like all the voice notes and that on WhatsApp. He literally helped us through me offence marketing, just speaking like step by step. So because I've already learned so much from him, I think now, especially like with the podcast and everything he's learned from like Rogan and stuff like that, I think he would be a good one for me personally. And then the other 2 is a person called Max Tuning. He's a YouTuber and business owner, so don't know if you can see the sour strips.
Yeah,
So,
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, because he's quite a funny guy, like when like he comes across, and he's actually replied to like DMs to us before and stuff like that, and I think that's pretty sick with the following that he's got.
Yeah.
So I think touching on the business side of things, he can like give us a lot of good information,
Nice.
but then going off like content and stuff like that, he's got like a very similar personality to what I like to be around.
Yeah.
So very relaxed and chilled and very rarely serious, which is like me. Like I don't mind being serious like when we have to be, but for me a lot of the time like I like to be the joker type of person.
Yeah.
So that's the second one. And the other one, just because I've only started seeing him very recently, but I just think he's quite a cool dude, is Simon Squid. Or
Right.
Squib. Is it
Yeah,
Squib?
Yeah.
And just because what he does, I've never seen people do.
Is that the what's your dream guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
only because it's like, I know he's had businesses, but like, what makes him go from setting up businesses to then wanting just to go out and just help random people off the street set stuff up and things like that? It's like, for me, it's not wanting to find out tips and stuff like that or setting a business up, because I fall into the category you mentioned earlier about what the fuck do I want to do. That's why I've started the podcast, because I want to benefit people by giving them advice. We're trying to set a business up. I don't know like how to go around that at the moment. That'll be something later down the line. So I mentioned to Alex, I want to start like a group, like a community group for mental health people like struggling, where it's not people who are therapists, it's just people who are there to support you, can have a conversation with. And like what I want to do is have it like around the globe, so there's always kind of somebody who's available, but like there's no costs unless you kind of need it. So that's what I want to kind of look to set up in the near future, but it's not like a business, because it'll be like free of charge, just a community thing. So they're my 3, and I think the only thing that I would probably change is potentially I would swap out Simon for Christian Guzman or Steve Cook, because I've followed them since being like 14, 15. Like, I learned everything I know about fitness through them, and that's what I was going to do. I wanted to leave school and do sports science and nutrition in uni, but then I was like, I don't want to do that, so I done marketing. I don't know how I went from sport and nutrition to marketing, but it was something I was interested in.
Just a quick question: why didn't you choose any family members? You know, their past, etc.
So the only one who I would choose would be my granddad, who passed away last year, and it was like a year yesterday when he passed away, and he's the only person who I would choose, and that's simply because I didn't get to say goodbye with the rest of the family last year, because I was at work, and by the time he passed away, like, I didn't have time to go down, because I was meant to see him on that night time. So that's the only person I would choose, and only because everyone who I think I could benefit from speaking to are still here. And I don't think if I was inviting anybody in the world, I can literally go down the road and speak to them now. So
Grandad's not one of them. Do you know what I mean? Get out there, mate.
My granddad, the only reason I would invite him would be for those final goodbyes. Like, it sounds so bad, but I'm I'm very sentimental. Like I love the family, but I'm not kind of wrapped around it. So I can go away on holiday and I don't, like, it sounds horrible, I didn't text my dad for 3.5 weeks when I was in Australia. Like,
yeah, I'm the same. I kind of just do my own thing. When you sent over the thing, you know, the first thing you think is like, would you jump on with family and stuff? And I feel like from losing family members to where I am now, there's nothing I'd want to run them through. There's nothing I'd think I would need to tell them, if that makes sense. I very much think, like, if you really had something to tell them, like, you probably should have told them when they were here. Otherwise, it's probably not as important as what you think it is. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think as time goes on, and let's say, you know, I'll lose my parents, etc., you know, hopefully no time fucking soon, and more things happen in my life, I can imagine that they would be the people that would be around the table, because I'd want to say, oh, by the way, this happened, this is your granddaughter, this is this, do you know what I mean, etc. And you know, have them be proud if they missed anything.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm very much in the same mindset view of where if I had something to say, I probably would have said it. Do you know what I mean?
The way I think about it is like the dinner table one. I'm a selfish person in regards to wanting to grow, so I've invited people who I know will potentially benefit from whilst having that good time.
Yeah.
Where I know you've done Beetlejuice, but I think you could still benefit from the other two people there. So McGregor and Tate, I think you can learn a lot from them too. And I mean, Beetlejuice is just fun, man.
My granddad personally, I don't know what yours like, but if I invited him to the table, he'd probably say, "Why the fuck am I here?" Yeah. And then probably just get up and walk off. Do you know what I mean? So he's that type of dude. So yeah, leave him on the sideline. I love him, but he's funny as fuck. Chris.
Yeah, I'm the same with my granddad. Like, he would be the same. He'd be like, "What am I doing?" But he's like, the only reason I would invite him to the dinner table is solely for saying goodbye, and that's because I think, other than me two cousins who chose not to go, everyone went the day before he passed away and like got to say like their final goodbye, stuff like that. Where for me nana, everyone had been all day, me nana was shattered and stuff like that by the time I finished work on, I think it was like the Monday or whatever. So I was like, oh, come down tomorrow, because we didn't realise it was going to be so quick. And then it was like in the afternoon, the day after, where he passed away. So I was like, I didn't get to see it, but that would be the only reason. But other than that, like, I could learn a lot from him, but if I invited him at dinner table, he'd be like, what? Why am I here? Like, exactly what you've just said. So that, for me, with three people I know I'd have a good time with. Simon's probably the only one who I don't really know too much about like other businesses and things like that. But mine would be like the idea of like, why on earth does somebody like him want to give back so much? Like, that would intrigue me. Like, I'm a very strange character when it comes to stuff like that, for being honest. But all good. Nah, like, your choice is always different, and I like the Beetlejuice one. That's made us laugh a bit, to be fair.
He's a Chris.
Yeah, definitely. To wrap the pod up though, Ryan, one bit of advice for your younger self, or anybody who's like facing like struggles or looking to start like their next like leap. Like, what would be your one bit of advice?
I think I would just repeat what I said before, which is like, number one, like, take risks and do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Too many people all surround you where they aren't doing anything about it, but they're happy to complain. Yeah. Just be that one person that is willing to do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Because I think people are way more capable than what they give themselves credit for. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It really is just a case of just putting in the actions, doing the things, and being consistent with it. So take risks, especially if you're between the ages of like fucking 16 to 28, 29. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm not there yet, but I can pretty much say that it gets a lot rougher after the age of 30 for commitment issues. So just take risks. Do you know what I mean? Don't gamble your fucking house and your mum's mortgage. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not a smart risk, but calculated risks. Do you know what I mean? Yes. That's what I would say. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna wrap up my side by just saying a little bit of motivation for you, dude. And you can clip this, and when you get to this point, you can go, I fucking did, Ryan. I don't think that you're going to get past 100 episodes. Right. So there you go. Cool. That's your thing. That's the motivation. Right? You don't know if I do. I don't think that. Do you know what I mean? I could be just trying to push you in the right direction, but that's a motivation for you to clip. So when you hit your 100, you can go, this little fucking prick was wrong.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nah, I'm going to use that as motivation now, mate.
Sweet. Nice.
Nah, just what we've said earlier, but 20's obviously my first goal, but then 100's definitely the one after.
Yeah, that's why I said 100, because I knew that you were going to batch create 20, so I was like, that's too low for him. I'm going to have to stay up here so that you has to go above and beyond and like really push.
After this now, I'm just going to be on social media messaging everybody I know now.
Literally.
Mate,
next week.
If I'm being honest, I appreciate it as well, because like I say, even if I can't get more people on, what I will probably do is reach out to people who I know probably have more to offer. So I've got, I don't know if you know him, Nathan Hodgson, he's booked on coming in, and he's like an expert in AI, so he's been like in promo, done like podcast himself, so I know I've got at least 2 or 3 episodes I could probably record just with him alone, because AI is such a thingy topic.
Well, I mean, the odds are in your favour, mate. There's about 7.5 billion people on the planet, so I'm sure you can find 100 of them.
Nah,
do you know what I mean? So,
but now you've just given us motivation to get everything booked in.
It's on record. It's been recorded.
So now I'm just going to message everyone like mad. But I really appreciate coming on, Ryan, and for the viewers and listeners, where can they find you on social media, mate?
Mainly Instagram. So the Instagram's just at Ryan Conwell Fitness. That's it. If you're more from a fitness coach standpoint and you want more business orientated content, as of right now, it's just Ryan Conwell _PM. Might be changing that at some point, but that's what it is right now. That's more of the business standpoint. So those are the 2 places.
And that's from the 10th of August, just in case this is put out a little bit, because obviously I want to batch create videos first and on episode 2. But no, sweet. I really appreciate coming on, Ryan. Thank you for your time, mate. And I look forward to seeing everything that you guys do with our Pride Coaching as well.
Look forward to the 100th episode. See you soon, dude.
I'll get you on for the 100th.
I fucking told you. Last one. That's it.
Your return one can't be 101, actually.
The 101. Yeah, it's just I told you, and then you end the podcast. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
How it is.
I appreciate it, mate, and I appreciate the support as well, bud.
Sweet. Cheers, dude.
No worries, mate. Thank you, mate. Bye.